All right, snow stories. Now, this is when I first got sent to Chino. Now, Chino was a reception center, but I didn't come for reception. I did my reception at Donovan. I left Donovan reception and went to Jamestown. Jamestown is a level one, is level one, two, and three. I was at the level one facility because I was supposed to go to fire camp. So this is where you do your training and prepare before you go to fire camp. Now, as soon as I got there, because I'm white and, I'm running with the Crips, there's an issue with the whites. So, I had, I had a chip on my shoulder. I had something to prove. And I've been told all my life, that if I ever go to prison, the white boy's gonna kill me. So I come ready to fight, because I'm not giving up easy. And I spent over, 20 years in the California prison system. And I went from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4. And I still walked out standing tall. No PC, no, sensitive needs, no, tucking my flag, none of that. I stood tall through it all, and I'm still here. The point is that I'm still here. And that's, the best part of the story. Because now I'm living my best life. I got out of prison over 9 years ago. Got into a drug program, a sober living facility, gave myself a opportunity to sit, and save up and build a foundation. After a year in there, I ended up getting a place with, which is today my wife of 7 years. And we got a place, and, there's been struggles, there's been problems, there's been hassles, there's been hills, there's been, and there's been good times. And I think about all the traveling I've done. I've been around, I've got around a little bit. Me and the wife, we've been halfway across the country a couple times now. We haven't made it all the way across to the other side, but we never had a reason. So, we're looking to find a reason. But no, we like to travel. So, we've been out here and there, and we've had some missions. We went to South Dakota, so we went to Mount Rushmore. And, even better than Mount Rushmore was Crazy Horse. Crazy Horses off the chain. If you ever get a chance to go to South Dakota, go see Crazy Horse. It's on the other side of the mountain behind Mount Rushmore, and it's way better. We've been to Texas one time. I want to go back again. It's a nice place to visit. I don't know about living there, but but it's a nice place to visit. I got to do some fishing, so it was a nice place. So this story goes back to when I was in Chino. So I went from Donovan to Jamestown. I got into some stuff there, and then I ended up going to level 2. So I went to Chino for level 2. As soon as I got off the bus, Chino Central, there was a white guy who had been in the hole, because I just came from the hole. Like I said, I went from level 1 to level 2, so I went through the process of getting punishment and all that, so I went to the hole. I got out of the hole, and I got transferred to a different prison, because it's like, this guy's gonna start problems. Let's get him out of here. So, they shipped me to Chino. As soon as I got off the bus, Chino Central, there was a white inmate who was, affiliated with the Nazis. And he was in there, and, I was over here with the blacks. Now they got everybody uncuffed in one big tank, and there's a bathroom over there, and some benches, and, benches around the wall. So people are all sitting in here, but you got to go through this room to get to the MTA. The MTA is a medical technical assistant. So it's like a nurse, but everybody has to get checked out when you first get to a prison to make sure you don't have nothing, you're not infected or something like that. So you go through a check. So when she, but we're in the tank and she hasn't came in yet. Everybody's sitting in the tank waiting, and that's CDC, which is California Department of Corrections. Is hurry up and wait, because we're sitting in this tank and we're waiting, and I'm over here with the Crips. So we shooting the shit, talking and clowning, and there was a white dude, and he was a Nazi, and he's over there with the whites, and he just piece of shit. And I turn around and look like, who he talking to? And he's like, yeah, you. I'm like, who, me? Like, yeah, you. And I'm like, man, we can take it to the bathroom. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, you know what I'm saying? I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm young. So I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to prove a point. But the dude is a little bit bigger than me. You know what I mean? He had a little size on him. You know what I'm saying? Was a couple years older. I'm a kid. I'm a youngster. So I'm 18, right? So we go up in there, we go into the bathroom, and it's just one-on-one, and me and him. And we go up in there, and we fighting, you know what I'm saying, back and forth, you know what I'm saying, chunking them just toe to toe. And he's standing there with me, you know what I'm saying, throwing them, you know what I'm saying, and I'm getting hit and he's getting hit, you know what I'm saying, but we just standing there throwing. And then all of a sudden, I was kind of dazed because he rung my bell. So he hit me, and then I'm like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Because I didn't see him no more. And then I look, and he's laid out. He's asleep. So I caught him with one and knocked him out. So when he went down, you know what I'm saying, I'm still kind of dazed. So I'm like trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to get my bearings again. And I look and I see the dude, you know what I'm saying, and he's asleep, he's bleeding out his mouth, but he's knocked out on the floor, So when I see him on the floor, you know what I'm saying, I turn around, you know what I'm saying, and I walk out the bathroom. I look at the other white boys, and I'm like, who next? Who next? Did nobody want none. So I go back over there with, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, all the homies, you know what I'm saying, and everybody clowning. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, who next? Who next? Come on, go get your boy, go get your boy. They clowning. So one white dude goes up in there to check on him, you know what I'm saying, and then the MTA, she comes walking by, so she sees this dude sleeping on the bathroom floor. So immediately she pushes her alarm button. So that, you know what I'm saying, calls all the police, you know what I'm saying, so everybody get down. So they come running in, and they got him in the bathroom, but there was a dude in there with him. So they checked him, you know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, now they're going to check everybody else. So when they check everybody, my hands are beat up. I got a couple ooh-wee knots because I done been hit a few times. But, you know what I'm saying, I'm sitting there, you know what I'm saying, and I'm still huffing and puffing because I smoked at the time, and it was rough. So, you know what I'm saying, but so now the police, they go and they pull my file and they see, okay, yeah, he was involved because somebody said something. This is what they tell me later. Somebody in the tank told us what happened. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about nothing, So they're like, look, you know what I'm saying, that's all right, you know what I'm saying, because we got something for you. We got another bus for you, ASAP. You're out of here. So 2 days later, I was on a bus. I was shipped to another prison just because they didn't want to deal with a white Crip situation. A white Crip situation is, you put the white Crip on the yard, and then the whites try and do something to him, and then the blacks, you know what I'm saying, step up, and then it turns into a racial riot. And, you know what I'm saying, they don't want that. Unless they, you know what I'm saying, sometimes. But no, you know what I'm saying, so I ended up, you know what I'm saying, sitting in the hole for a couple days and then got shipped out. But it was a learning process because, like, I was new. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying. All I know is, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna fight, you know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna fold up. I'm not gonna quit. So let's go. And now they know. But I'm still here, and I'm figuring somebody kept me here. And like I say, I believe there's a higher power. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. I know there's something more powerful than me. I don't know what that is. But I trust and believe that there's something more powerful than me. So that is what I put my trust and faith in and hope. And that's the end of this one. If you like it, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. Thanks for watching, people.